This is the real me. This all I got. This all I got. I can't go back. No, I can't hold back. This is the real me. This all I got. This all I got. I can't go back. No.
Welcome to the Good Vibes Only podcast with the greatest vibes on anywhere. So sit back and rewind. Let me take your mind for a little bit of time and enjoy. Today's podcast is about good faith and none other than the best person to that I think to bring on here is a person who not only exudes good faith but tells you like the ins and out, and like you got to see her TikTok, her YouTube, and if I'm not mistaken, she's also the media creator for a church of her own, and so that's also another good thing. So this is like a person that I feel like when it comes to good faith, that she would be perfect, a perfect guest. This
Thank
is
you. Thank you.
Jefawn Evans.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me on this podcast. Yes, like Jefawn said, I love faith. I'm all about it. I am a spiritual growth and personal development coach. So pretty much I just help women and men too, grow spiritually, and just find their way in life, find their purpose, walk in their calling, find what God has placed them to do on this earth and do it with excellence. So that's what I do. I'm also the media creator for my church as well. I do all things content creation. Those are the gifts that God gave me. So I do marketing, I do social media marketing, podcasts, email, all sorts of stuff, writing, everything. So that's who I am. And yes, if you guys want to follow me, definitely please follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Pretty in Purpose Brand. That is my brand. That is my life. That is my baby, my passion project, Pretty in Purpose. So yeah, follow me.
Usually with these podcasts, I say the intro, and then they'll go, "Oh, thank you," and all this other stuff. And I was like, "All right, cool." Usually, I like to give them a chance to introduce themselves. She took the time to do it herself, so I appreciate you for that. I
Yeah, I
appreciate
gotta give my 10 seconds of shine in, when I got it, okay?
ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Makes it a whole lot easier. It makes it a whole lot easier. So, in talking and getting straight into it with like good faith. So I know like everyone has their journeys when it comes to like faith and like how they like got into this like journey of realizing, okay, this actually might be a thing that I need to like probably get into it or something like that. So was there like a moment, or was there like a time where you're like, all right, cool, this is like something I really need to get into, like when it comes to faith, or like figure out your faith?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like you said, it's a moment for everybody. For me, I know, so I grew up religious. I grew up very religious. My family was in the church all the time, like Monday through freaking Sunday. I'm so serious. Like we were in church every single day. But in growing up, my mom, the church we were at, my mom, there was a lot of church hurt. Everyone knows the term church hurt. There was
Mm.
some church hurt, so we kind of stopped going to church. And that was when I was in like high school. So it was kind of like the worst time for me to stop going to church, because once we stopped going to church, we moved. I got into high school and I started hanging around the wrong people. Okay.
Mm.
I was doing things I had no business doing. And I kind of, left my faith. I didn't really have a relationship with God anymore. I was just out in the world doing all kinds of things. And so that's when I left my faith. And so when I found God again, it was when I was in the middle or at the end of a very toxic relationship. The relationship
Mm.
I was in, I was engaged to this person. We had a child together. And it was just a very bad relationship. It was very bad. To the point where, I'll keep this short and sweet, to the point where like I started to have suicidal thoughts. Like I
Uh,
became really depressed. I just could not recognize myself. I looked in the mirror, I could not recognize myself. I didn't want to be here on this earth. And so God found me, honestly. I wasn't looking for him. He found me when I was just in a really, really low time in my life when I needed him the most. And that's what he
mm.
will do. He'll find you when you need him the most. You might not be looking for him, but he's always looking for you. And so, yeah, it was a really bad time. He found me. He got me out of that relationship. Because I had prayed. I was like, listen, Lord, I was like, please, if you get me out of this, I promise I'll do right. I'll come back. Like I was literally, so he had found me, and that's how I came back to my faith.
You know what? So there was a I can also attest for like all right the little things because I remember like watching one of her TikToks where she was like the disciples are at the table.
Oh
the,
yes.
the disciples at the table,
God.
and
No,
then
that's hilarious. You guys have to go watch that one. That one was hilarious.
Jesus looks back and then it's like
I was a wild one. I was a wild one, man. That's when I was a bottle girl. I was a bartender and I was a bottle girl, which I mean, I'm saying I had some good times. I did. I'm not gonna lie. Now I had some good times, but but nothing as good as the love of Christ. And so he definitely has changed my heart. My desires are different. I don't desire the stuff I used to anymore. Like I used to always want to be out in the club and drinking and smoking and partying. And I don't desire to do that anymore because the closer I get to him, the more he purifies and changes my heart and my mind. So yeah.
yeah, so there was like so I would say like for me there was like this moment when I was in like high school, right? And it's crazy because it's like oh I wouldn't say crazy, but it was like a weird I think it's a weird time for God to go, hey bro, you need to pay attention. Uh, so basically I was in high school and I was like a huge like class clown. I was like a huge when I say like a huge class clown, I was like I it got so bad for me where I ended up going from valedictorian to ninth. That's how bad. That's how bad. That's how bad. That's how bad. That's how bad I got with my act. Which ninth is still good out of 300. It's still
Yeah,
good, but from going
it's
from
not.
that to
Yeah.
from going from that to that, I was like, all right, cool. I was doing this, and like I think God came to me about my at me from my competitive spirit. He came at me through my competitive spirit. It's and I say it's the weirdest thing because I don't see that. I've never heard anybody going, "Oh, God just made me competitive," and
Yeah.
that's basically what it was. It just like, all right, cool. It just made me competitive and like basically I started like getting these like that was the time where I started getting like these what if moments. And I started praying and I was like, all right, here's these what if moments.
Yeah.
What if you go down this road and then it happened? Then you want to go to this college and now they're mad that you were one and went to nine. They don't. I'm like, oh, what? This is too much. All right, cool. I'll just I'll just get
Good.
into it. So that kind of leads me to my like that kind of leads me to like my next question like what so I know you've always been like this media creator. I know like the church isn't the only thing that you've like done media creation for, so I want to know what made you decide to create media for like when it comes for Christ or for a Christian or for the church. What made you like take that step?
That's a great question. So, when I'm always on my journey of finding my purpose and walking in my calling. That's what I believe everyone should be. We all have a purpose here on earth. We all have a calling, and I feel like everyone should find their thing. What's your thing? And so, I always knew my thing was media. I always knew, like, when I was younger, I loved photography. In high school, I did journalism. In college, I did journalism. So, I've always had a passion for media. Like I said earlier, when I was in this toxic relationship, this was during, I had just graduated college, by the way. This was in 2020 when the pandemic had hit. So when I graduated college, I had this broadcast journalism degree, but I literally, no one was hiring because it was the pandemic. So no one was hiring jobs. And so in my relationship, the person I was with was taking care of me, right? So it was hard to get out of this relationship because it was like, I don't have no money. I don't have no job, no way of getting a job. What am I going to do? And so I kind of stepped out on faith. And so when I left that relationship, I drove all the way to Texas with no money, no job, no car. And I was just like, God, what am I going to do? What do you want me to do? Like, I can't get a job. There's no jobs. Nobody was hiring in the pandemic. So one night God placed it on my heart and he was like, start your own, he was like, do your own thing, start your own business, start your own marketing business. And so during the pandemic, I had started a social media marketing business and I was helping just all kind of business owners. I didn't really have a niche. I was helping any and everybody, man. I remember, oh my goodness, I literally helped someone start their OnlyFans. Like literally, like that was their business. And because I just wanted money. Okay. I was like, okay, sure. So yeah, I was helping any and everybody with my business. I didn't care who it was. If you had money, you came to me, you needed help on social media, I was going to help you. It wasn't until I started going deeper in my spiritual journey that God made me realize, like, okay, I really want to use the gifts that He's given me, the gifts of media, to, advance His kingdom, advance His mission, do His will, because that's what He's called me here to do. That's what He's called all of us here to do, is to do His will, and in different ways, but with our own gifts. And so my gift of media, I said, God, you know what? I want to help your people. I want to help serve you and your people. So I started using my gifts to help faith-based businesses, pretty much, grow on social media, get more clients, get more exposure, doing my gifts of photography, videography, helping them with their brand. And I started going to my church out here in Houston. And as soon as it was crazy because I wasn't going to church when I first moved out here. I was going to church online, and something in me, God was like, you need to find a church home out here. And literally, I started going to church in February, and I became the marketing assistant in like March. It was crazy. So it was like, God just works in amazing ways. But yeah, that's when I realized, I want to use my gifts to do His will, and not my own, because yes, I have these talents and I have these gifts, but I should use them for God's glory. So
Ah,
yeah.
that's actually that's decent. That's amazing. That's amazing. I'm actually glad that you like found that you went and you went into that thing. So I want to get into like a hard, like somewhat of a hard, but not really a hard hitting question. But I think it's pretty easy. So what is faith to you?
What is faith to me? Faith to me is just having a deep, personal, intimate relationship with Christ, and doing His will, using your whole mind, your body, your soul. Your soul is literally just made up of your mind, your emotions, your will. That's what your soul is. So using everything in you to just have this relationship with God. A lot of people think religion is like, oh, we have to follow a bunch of rules and we have to do this and we have to do that, but that's not what faith is. And I feel like as a Christian, for me, it's just having an intimate relationship with God. If I have this relationship with God, I'm going to have this like blind faith, as people call it. Like when I stepped out on faith in my business, it wasn't because I knew I was going to be successful. It wasn't because I knew I'm talented and gifted. I didn't. I'm not always the most confident. I can be insecure at times. I can be a self-sabotager. I have imposter syndrome, but it's just believing that God created me and that He loves me enough to make sure I'm going to get where I need to be. And so if I always have that relationship with Him, what can go wrong? Like if I'm set up with Him, if He's talking to me, I'm talking to Him. It doesn't matter what I do. I know I'm on the right path because He's telling me what I need to do. So faith is just having that really deep, intimate relationship with Christ, and just every day waking up, being close with Him, doing His will, using your gifts and talents to walk in your calling. And yeah, that's what faith is to me.
I like that. I like that. So my thing is, so I know a lot of times we stray away from the like God, or like we stray away from like what we feel like, all right, cool, this is the right thing. Why does this thing happen? Why is this thing happening? Why is this? Or we get caught up in the whys. I feel like we as especially as Christians, I feel like we get caught like so far into the whys. So what do you
Yeah.
think is some good advice for like for people that get caught up in those whys, or like the purposes of the pretty and purpose or the purpose
Yeah.
of like the things that are going on.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I feel like you're absolutely right. We do get caught up in whys, especially when it comes to things like when things go wrong, like testimonies and trials. Like, let's say you did have this faith to start a business and you're not seeing the fruits of your labor. Like your business is not working out. And you're like, well, why, Lord? Why is this happening to me? Why would you tell me to start this business and nothing's going on? So we do get caught up in the whys a lot. I say my advice would just be, one, you just have to trust the Lord. Like you have to grow. And that's why it's important to have a relationship with someone, because you can't trust someone you don't know, right?
Mm.
So you have to be in a deep relationship with Christ in order to trust him. Yeah, so just to not get caught up in the whys, you have to have trust. You have to trust that God knows what he's doing, that he created you for a reason, that he does everything for a reason. Even stuff that doesn't seem to be working out for us, it's all for a reason. So you just have to trust that. You have to trust and believe that. And in order to trust that, you have to have a really good, really strong relationship with God. So I would say don't get caught up in the whys. Just have faith. Continue to do what you know you need to do. So just have faith.
Yeah. I
I can't. You're making me laugh. Okay.
Hey, look, listen. I'm trying to listen. Stop. Listen. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I tend to have that effect, you know.
Yeah, you do.
No.
You have an infectious what's it called? Like a spirit. Infectious. You just make people laugh.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. That's a good
A
thing, I
great
think. All right. We good. We good. All right. We hit. All right. All right. Shake it off. All right. All right.
thing.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So I think the best thing to like for me, I think the best thing to like look at it from a standpoint of like there's a meaning in everything. To me, the reason why I feel like the connection between me and God is so close is because I have spend a lot of time like I'll go outside and I'll look at just like random stuff. I like plants, trees, just like random crap. And I'll be like, all right, cool. What's the purpose of that? What's the purpose of
Yeah.
this? What's the purpose of grass? Why is this grass here? It just seems like it's just getting pooped on and like cut all the time. So what's the purpose of grass? And then you look it up and then you're like, oh, here's the information.
Yes.
Purpose of grass. The entire earth would be dead without grass. Oh, all right. That was-
Yeah.
that's a great point. And so you like you look at like those things you like go you like go and like all right cool it's grass something that gets pooped on stepped on walked all
That's
over drove all over if something like that gets has
wow.
like that type of purpose or like
Mm,
runs an ecosystem. I'm pretty sure all right cool my purpose is also there and there's also a purpose for myself being here and a reason for myself being here. So I can't really like go oh why is this happening because I'm pretty sure you know we learned in science that you know grass is a living organism. Pretty sure grass is like 24/7. Why are they stepping on me? So it's
that's
like
good. No, that's good. That's really good. I love how you said that. Like, even though grass, like you said, it gets pooped on, it gets, stepped on. It's like it gets treated like garbage, right?
yeah
It has a purpose. Like, that's what's crazy. And so, like, even with people, like with me, when I was dealing with like depression, it was like, I'm getting treated like horribly. I'm getting treated like crap. I'm going through depression. I don't want to be here. But I have a purpose. There's a reason why I'm here. Even though we can't see it, we don't know what it is just yet. I didn't know what it was just yet. There is a purpose for it. And if God has a purpose for grass, which gets pooped on and stepped on, he has a purpose for you. I mean, you're a living organism. He created you.
yeah
He loves you immensely. And so he has an amazing purpose for you. So I love how you said that. That's so true.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So like so I know for I know for a lot of people we get uh stuck in like interpretations or meanings or like things
Yeah.
of for that or, of that matter. I personally I'm like a person like where I'm like non-denominational type person. So I don't think everybody should be that. Like I'm not trying to say everybody should be that. You be the type of
Yeah.
person that you be the type of person that you want to be. You believe in
Yeah.
the way that you believe. So I'm a person to where I believe in like non-denominational, take the Bible as is, and like all right, cool, interpret it. And also, like I like to like actually like go and like all right, cool, maybe there's a reason between New Testament, Old Testament, or like or these walks and stuff like that. So I want to know like what like if you do consider yourself a denomination, what denomination do you choose and why that certain denomination? And what is your belief when it comes to
So that's a great question too. You hit me with all these good questions. You keep them
that?
coming. So I am also Non-denominational. The church that I go to is non-denominational. I grew up in a Baptist church.
Oh,
So I grew up in a Baptist church. And so I never really knew the difference. You know, when you're growing up, stuff doesn't really make sense as much as when you get older. So I always considered it a black church. That's what I thought my Baptist church was. I said, well, I go to a black church. And that's what I thought it was. But and then so when I grew up and I see like what non-denominational is, I feel like I relate to that more. I don't know why. Because I really don't honestly understand the difference. I get the difference between like Catholic and like Protestant and the other ones, but between Baptist and non-denominational, I honestly don't know what the difference is. I feel like right now I relate more to non-denominational because, like you said, they take the Bible and they read it, you know, as is and stuff. And so it's like I relate more to non-denominational churches. So I honestly don't know what the difference is, but yeah, I would just say like there's different when like I said, I have a relationship with God. So really whatever church I go to, it really doesn't matter what type of church it is because
yeah.
I read the word for myself. So if you get up on there on that stage and tell me something that I know is not in the Bible, I'm gonna know you're speaking like BS. you know,
I
because
get it.
like because like I read my Bible, so I'm gonna know if you're lying. So yeah, I honestly don't know the difference between that. But I did grow up in a Baptist church, and now I go to a non-denominational.
Yeah, so there's this thing that I remember whenever I was like getting like real close to like extremely closer to God because it's weird because I got closer to God during like basic reception because I got stuck there for longer than
Mhm.
most people get stuck there. So like I was like, all right, cool. What am I gonna do if what am I gonna do? Because I can't that they're not gonna allow me to go to like the like arcades or do anything extra. What am I gonna do to get off of this like to get out of this like army like area? So I was like, all right, cool. They have services. I could just do that to get like a little break. So I was like, all right. It started from like, all right, cool. Let's go from this. All right,
Oh,
to like,
yeah.
oh wait a minute, this dude's kind of making sense.
Wow.
He's kind of making sense. And so as he started making sense, he started like break down like denominations and stuff like that. He broke it down like as a pie. I, well, there's no real difference between Baptist and non-denominational. As the research that I've seen, there's no real difference. There is a difference, but it's like, all right, cool. There's like one difference, and it's not that big. So it's like, it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Okay.
it's like the way you pray. That's about it. So
Interesting. Okay.
so so it's like, all right, cool. And the way he broke it down to me, the reason why I chose a non-denominational is like he broke it down as like as a pie, right? You get this pie. It's a bad analogy because I'm pretty sure you slice pie anyway, but it was his analogy. I got it,
Yeah.
so I was like, we here. So he was like, he got this pie. You take this whole pie, right? And then you
Mhm.
slice the pie, and you take a piece of the pie out. Now you just taking now this pie is like 1/5 or like whatever fraction of that pie is now left, and then you take another
Yeah.
piece, and now that fraction of that pie is now gone, and then until you take it until like there's nothing of it left besides this one piece where you're just like, all right, cool, and then you just kind of take that for what it is, but it's not the whole thing. You don't see it. You just see this one piece, and so
Mhm.
that's how he explained it. So that was
Yeah.
what. So that was like my reason. Like, all right, cool. So basically, they're just taking the Bible or just doing it like that. So not to knock anybody who believes in other denominations. I do not.
Yeah.
I'm not that
Oh
type of
yeah.
person. I'm just saying it's just like I believe like all right, cool. The Bible says this. Let's go by. Let's try
Yeah.
it. I'm not perfect. I'm nowhere near perfect. I cuss. She's trying not to cuss. I'm not gonna try not to cuss. All right, I'm just gonna put that out there. I'm not gonna try not to
You
cuss.
try not to.
I'm not that person. All right.
Oh,
Uh,
very. I love that. I love that. And thank you because I just learned something new today. I had no clue. I really didn't know what the difference between the two were. But no, I love how you said that. You like I'm, I'm going to cuss. And she's trying. That's good. I mean, I feel like we as Christians, like people look at Christians and say, oh, well, they're hypocrites and yada, yada, yada. It's not that we're hypocrites. Well, a lot of them are, but it's not that we're hypocrites. It's just that we are honest. We know what's wrong and right. But we're human. We mess up. We're not perfect. God knows we're not perfect. The Bible says we're not going to be perfect. And so, just being real and raw and honest and not afraid to, show your like, okay, yeah, I cuss. I mean, it's like, yeah, it's like that is what it's about. It's like we have to be real, we have to be honest because people are going to look at us. And if we're lying and we're saying, oh, I don't cuss, and like we're trying to be snooty and everything, they're going to think we're hypocrites. And that's not the picture that we want to paint. We want to paint the picture of we're human, we sin, we mess up too. But the difference is God, we know that Jesus loves us and he came down to save us because we are sinners. We need a savior. That's the whole point,
That is amazing. So before we get out of here, I always like to, have the guests like give like a word of advice or like a word to like the people out there. So is there anything that you want to give? Is there any advice that you want to give people on like faith or just in general? Anything you want to say to people before we get out of here?
I would just like to say that I know life is hard. Life gets really, really hard at times. We all go through stuff and, it can suck. It can suck whether you're Christian or not, whether you're atheist, whatever you believe in, we all go through stuff. But the only difference is that God is out there. There is a God and he loves you so much. And he doesn't want you to go through trials and tribulations. Like Jesus came down here so that we could have life and have it abundantly. You can have peace. You can have joy. You can have love. You can have satisfaction. You can have all of that. But all of that is found in the heart of Christ. And when you find Jesus and when you give him your yes and you give him your all, he gives you all of that. He gives you the peace, the joy, the love, everything that you're looking for out in the world. He gives that to you. And then when you're just walking in your calling, when you're using the gifts that he gave you, it's the most fulfilling thing in the world. I'm telling you, because I used to be that person. I was looking for love. I was looking for all these things that I found in Jesus and I found in, walking in my calling. It's so fulfilling. So find your gifts, find what you're good at, find your passions. God gave you passions for a reason. The stuff that you're passionate about, he gave you those for a reason. Find what those are, find your gifts, find how they connect and walk in your calling. Just do, what you're called to do here. There's somebody out there who needs what you have to offer, and they're waiting on you. They need you. And so, you're here for a purpose. Like I said, like I always love to tell people, you're here for a reason. Somebody out there needs you. God loves you. I love you. And so, if anybody on here who's watching, if you're ever going through anything, if you ever want to talk, please reach out to me. My inbox is open. Like I said, Pretty and Purpose brand. You can follow me on TikTok, Instagram, also on Pinterest and YouTube. And yeah, my inbox is open if anyone ever wants to talk about anything.
We all appreciate that, and that is good advice. All right, make sure y'all are listening to that. All right, make sure y'all listening to that. All right. Hey,
Yeah.
you are loved. Remember that. And with that being said, much love, peace,
Yeah.
and soul food, baby. Bye.
And when you trust him, you won't get so much caught up in the whys, because I'll admit I too, this is a journey. We're not going to be where we need to be until Jesus comes back, but this is just a journey. So it's like, don't get caught up in the whys, right? You have to trust God and trust in.
My bad. I don't mean. Why? That was so crazy. You went on this whole thing. You went on this whole thing, and you like froze for like 5 to 10 seconds, and then as soon as I told you, "Hey, wait," you came back, and I was like, "Oh."
That's crazy. Oh no.
I'm not editing that out. I'm not editing that
That's
out.
so funny. I love that.
Okay. 5. That's 10. Anyway, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, go. My bad.
This is the real me. This all I got. I can't go back. No, I can't hold back. This is the real me. This all I got. I can't go back. No, I can't hold back. What does it mean when they say a black man can't be saved? I'm tired of making minimum wage. I'm trying to make the top dollar, but they got us trapped in leash and collar. Like a dog, they trying to cap my funds. I get fed up with life and all these crazy decisions. They gon' try to keep us locked until it's zero attendance. White man don't wanna see us succeed. Start crying purple tears, then my heart start to bleed. What that mean?